Uh, Good evening. Well, the Who's today were on at Canterbury, bit parkish. Fence was the place, not dynamite, greyhound track, but the fence was the saved ground on the fence, and it helped you a lot. The track was good. The rail was in the normal position. There was a very strong wind, more or less directly behind them up the home straight. And I suppose it only had effect in one race, and that could have been the 1900 metre race we had there today, where the leaders, as soon as they went out the back straight and start turning into the back straight, I suppose they were running into it a good bit, and it might have had an effect. It led in that race, Set of Rocks. It did run last, beaten 8.4 lengths, but they did get along, and the favourite in the race, Fullerton, it did a bit of work to get outside the leader in that race. And as I say, they ran along a bit, so the wind could have had an effect on runners in that race, the leaders. But the other races, I don't think it did. The track played fairly fair, although, as I said, the fence was the place to be saved ground. If you got trapped wide in the run, your task was very hard. Today, it is Canterbury of a Wednesday. We had the 7 races. We had 2 2-year-old maidens, 2 3-year-old maidens, and 3 benchmark races. It wasn't so long ago. You had to win your maidens in the country, then you came to the city. Looks like now you win your maidens in the city and you go to the country. What is the story in what's the people who are running this game? Are they know what they're doing? Before the first race today, one of our leading pros, he'd be in the top 4 pros in Sydney. He came around, of course. His man came around and got his settling results announced with each captain, with each bookie, and he said his words were that no, he's turning up betting on Sydney racing. So there's one of our pros, as I say, one of our top pros. He's not betting anymore on Sydney racing. What are they? Here we are. Of course, it's Wednesday. We had a couple of meetings Monday, and then Grafton was on there. 100 runners at Grafton yesterday. Canterbury today. We've got Gosford tomorrow. We've got, of course, the Scone meeting, the standalone on Saturday, but Scone on Friday, Scone on Saturday, and they've got Warwick Farm on Sunday. What are they trying to do? Are you trying to send the punters broke? You've got to put the shoe on the other foot, surely, and think how if you were a punter, wouldn't you like to get them and line them up? So come on now, you've got to get a crust here, punting on these races every day. They wouldn't last 3 minutes. They wouldn't last 3 minutes. They're not an army of ants anymore, these punters. They used to be once, but one once disappears now. There aren't that many to replace them, and of course, then the TAB holdings, the tote holdings are going down as I'm talking. There'll be a dog race on now. So click on the television, click on the Fox, see how much it's holding. The tab's got 1 million customers on their books. Might be holding $340. Nothing, pennies. What are they trying to do? They're trying to send the punters broke. Fancy having all these races this week after the Scone standalone meeting and putting Warwick Farm on Sunday. What are they, a team of jerks? They must be kidding. Race 1 today, 107% on the screen. There were 6 less in the marketplace, 101. The race was won by, I suppose, the runner who got the softest run here. The 3 favourites hit the line with only 0.3 of a length, between the 3 of them, 0.2 by 0.3 of the margins. Lamartine won the race, had box 1. It got a run turning for home, hung out under pressure in the straight, and was able to just last from 5 Rocks who came from midfield. or from 5th position, one off the fence, and in front of it, hanging on for 3rd in the 1 out 1 position was Commanding Wit. As I say, they ran 1, 2, 3. There was the winner was $4.20 out to $4.60 taken, or 4.80 back into $4.60, hard to get. And the other pair got out in the market. You wouldn't see it, but number 1, 5 Rocks, it was $3.50, and of course we gave $3.20 Commanding Wit. The best luck about it was, I think, $3 and $3.20 about the top weight. You always do better on the course than the fluck shows. And as I say, the box one won the win of the race. Race 2, and the box didn't win. Box 1 didn't win here. This winner, Cosmic Endeavour, as we all know, it didn't trial with the blinks, but it had the blinks on today, and ridden by Nippy Nash. He rode a clever race. He jumped out from a very wide alley. Did he have the outside alley? Yes, he did. No, he didn't. Yes, he did. He had there were 5 scratchings, 1, 2, 3, 4 scratchings, 14 runners. He had barrier 14. He jumped with them, but then he just had a nice peg to his right, and he could see that he only had to, when he wanted to, kick up, and he was going to get the lead. He stayed out very wide. He velodromed, and when he saw that they were all under a bit of pressure after they got a furlong, he then dug up, and of course he crossed to the lead, and that turned out to be the end of the section. When he velodromed and found the fence on the first turn, he got 3 lengths break, a 3-length break on them, and he held that coming to the turn, if not a little bit further, and he went away and won by 3.3 lengths from She's Bella, who was the favourite. It made up plenty of ground, but no match with the winner. And hanging on for 3rd was Ciderlight, who got a good suck just behind the pace from barrier 1. The flux on the winner, as much as $8, you wouldn't have seen that, but $8 was given about the winner. I laid it well at one stage at $6.50. It started about that price, a little bit hard to get, maybe $6. And so it was a firmer in the betting. All of the others got out. The winner was the only firmer in the race. All of the others got out. One of them came, Prime Shadow. We put it up a $4 favourite. It got out to $5, but it came back into about $4.20 towards the end of betting. And all the others got out. Princess Henrietta from $6.50 to $7. She's Bella. We put it up the favourite, I'm sorry, at $3.20, but it got out to $4.60. It kept on getting out in the market, and most of the roughies also blew. The winner was a firmer, along with the 4th horse, Prime Shadow. But the winner, it was far too good. Race 3, they said there was 109.6 on the screen, 105, about 4 or 5 less in the marketplace, and this was won by the Avery, having its first start for the Waller Camp, ridden by horseman Huey Bowman. You wouldn't see it. The best luck about this runner was $3.20. There was ample $3.50 given on the fence, and it got a soft, cosy run in 4th position from barrier 1. It went straight to the lead adage with the blinkers on today. Sitting on its outside was, well, who was it? I don't know. I forget. I might have made a mistake here. I just forget who was sitting on the outside of it. But tucked away in 3rd position from barrier 1 was the winner, and on its outside was Moss and Time. And when they turned for home, he'd eased off heels on the winner, Emma Toto, whatever his name is, and he was able to loom up to the winners, to the leader after straightening, and he finished up winning by a length and a half, and it was a fairly strong win. There was a runner in this race, Oils. We put Oils, the other runners in the market, Oils and Pasali, both resuming from, well, one having his first start, Oils, and Pasali resuming from a spell. We put them both up about a $4.20 chance, and they got well out in the market. Oils was a very good run. it went from $4.20 out to $5.50, and Pasali went from $4.20 out to $7. And oils, as I say, it wanted to, well, it got into an awkward position, and there was a bit of a steady up near the lead. And when that happened, there was a bit of a chain reaction, and it lost all of its momentum, and wanted to yank and pull in the run a bit, copped a couple of good prats, but made up plenty of ground down the outside to finish up running fourth, only beaten about 1.8 lengths. It was a very good run. The leader Adage, it was well in the market. It opened up $7, got out to $8, came back into $6, but got back out to $7 towards the end of betting. The winner, as I say, you wouldn't have seen it, $3.50 given, opened up $2.80 favourite, got out to $3.50, but came in and started. I think they'll return it shorter, but it was $3 on my board when they jumped, and it got the chocolates. Oils was a very good run in the race. Race 4, well, there was a bit of difference in the market, the betting here, what you can see on the screen, 106.3 they said on the screen, about 5 less in the marketplace, only about 101. And where do we see a difference? Well, there was the winner, well, $8 about the winner. It kept on getting out, Ashamar. And of course, Rastro, $2.80, well, that was the best given. And Shawano, well, there was $5 about Shawano at the end of betting, plus a few other roughies were longer than what you actually saw on the screen. And this race, it was won by Ashamar, as I say. It got a cosy run. The favourite, Rastro, not very strong Rastro. It had barrier 1. It led. On its outside was the Snip, a 20-to-1 chance. It more or less didn't have a name, the Snip. It went from $12 or $13 out to $26. The winner, Ashamar, tucked away on the fence, ridden by horseman Huey Bowman, a very similar ride to his ride in the previous race on Amatoto, whatever, and he sat third on and eased off heels, turning for home, and was able to nab the winner near the line, Rastro. And it was a good result for the bookies, the winner, because it only went up a $5 chance, third favourite, but it got out to as much as $8 at the death. And as I say, given a perfect run and wore down the favourite right on the line to beat it by 0.2 of a length. And coming from 5th position, getting a good run, was number 10, a 60-to-1 chance, Sparkling to Win. It had a cosy run, and it only got beat 0.6 of a length, making up good ground. And number 11 in the race, after sitting in the 1-1 position, having every chance, stay Scutcham, it was beaten 0.8 of a length, 3/4 of a length. So there wasn't only 3/4 of a length between the first 4 runners. The winner got a good run. The format of the race is not, I don't think, will be anything flash. The winner was given a good ride. Race 5, they said, well, there's a lot of difference here, a good 9%. There are flux here that you wouldn't see. They said there was 105 on the screen. There was only about 96 in the marketplace, and straight off you can see with one runner, the most noticeable, that was Carmine King. The best fluck was only $5, but as much as $6.50 was given on the fence, and plenty of $5.50, but $6.50 given on the fence. So there's about 5% difference straight away. And the winner, nothing like Luca, having its first start for the O'Shea camp after being trained by, I think, Carrots and Bananas. It was ridden by James McDonald, and it was also very well backed, and you wouldn't see it. But $8 was given about nothing like Luca, only starting $5.50, extremely well backed. Not $8 into 5, 7s to 9 to 2. It was given a good ride. It went to the front, Neudart. Now, Neudart, it ran second. It was very hard to lay Neudart. I don't know why, well, I wouldn't have laid it. There was no one there to back it. But I wound $2.70 off towards the end of betting. In the last 10 seconds of betting into $2.60, because I was the only $2.70 on the ground, and you couldn't even get $2.60 on the fence, or you might have been able to get $2.61 board. It was $2.50 most boards. I was 270 by myself with no one to say 700 or 400, but it was, so I made it $2.60 and said if anyone does want to back in these last few seconds, you're going to have to take the 260. It was very hard to lay, very, very hard to lay, and the figures were very ordinary in this race. This was our worst race, figures-wise, all day. And they said they were going to ride it closer, Neudart, and unfortunately for clever Kieran McAvoy, he had to make a good bit of use of Neudart. They hunted up early inside him Carmine King and also Cinder Rock and Rella, ridden by the pumper and Mrs. J. Duggan on Carmine King, and they made him do a bit of work to cross, and that was most probably the difference in winning and losing. If he would have had drawn an inside alley and got a cosier run, he most probably would have won, but he spent a good bit of juice getting to the lead, and the winner, it sat 3 back on the fence, nothing like Luca from barrier 2, eased off heels by James McDonald turning for home, and he was only able to grab the favourite in the last sort of 50 metres, grabbing it and wearing away at it and beating it by 0.3 of a length. And coming from second last along the fence, again pointing out how important it is to save ground at Canterbury, was Magnolia Lane, who would have been a great result for the captains. It went from $17 out to $31, and ridden by horseman Huey Bowman, he saved a lot of ground along the fence, turning for home, and then eased off heels and only got beat 0.4 of a length. It's a noted wet tracker, Magnolia Lane, and it was first up today, and it put in a very good performance. If you happen to get a wet track in the next couple of weeks and you see it about, well, its chances will be enhanced. The winner, well backed, 7s to 9 to 2. The favourite, very hard to lay. We put it up evening money, evens the field, yours for theirs, and got out to $2.70, as I say. Started 260 on my board, but very hard to lay. The figures were no good. Carmine King went from $5 to $6.50 given, back into only $4 by the end of betting, and most of the other runners got out in the market. There was a bit of money for Cinder Rock and Rella. They took $13, only started 11, and unfortunately it ran its last race today. It's being retired. Race 6, they said there was 107.6 on the screen and only a couple less in the marketplace, 105 positive figures. And this race was, as I was saying, it could have been, the leaders might have been wind affected here. The winner, Swift Judgment, ridden by horseman Huey Bowman, he settled down in last position, and he let them, he knew they were getting along in front, and when they turned, or when they were coming off the circle, you look back into the field, coming to the turn, leading was Set of Rocks. On its outside, the favourite, Fullerton, and Ward got a cosy run tucked away behind them on the fence, and on its outside was, how do you say it? Novello River, and when they turned for home, after getting along up in the lead, Ward had sprinted past the leaders. When the favourite got past the leader, Set of Rocks, fairly easily before the turn, Ward got past it just as easy and got a length and a half clear. It looked like it was the winner, but as I was just saying earlier, when they were coming off the circle, you look back in the field, all runners were being fully ridden. They were all full bore, more or less, but back in the field in last position was the winner, and Bowman, he hadn't, he was the only runner that hadn't really been gone for, and when he did, after they turned for home, saving ground on the fence, he was able to get middle splits and beat Matamar, who had a good run in about fifth or sixth position, went off the fence, and it loomed up and it got past Ward, but the winner bobbed him on the line to win by a nose. Swift Judgment, a very good and heady ride by Bowman. Then we came to the last, and this was a huge result. This was a skinner for the books. And then who walked in? An Indian with a turban on, a Skinner for the books. I'll read that poem on my website. Anyway, 107.1 on the screen, and 6 less in the marketplace, only 101%. These were the flux very quickly. Worldwide went from $13 out to 19, back into 18. Perfect went from 17 to 26, back into 21. Now, Nassau went from $4.60 out to $8. Divine Moon, $10 into $9.50. Rockefeller Center, $4.60. I was $5.50 when they jumped. Anamoso was $3 given very early in the betting into $3.20 at one stage. Got back out to $4 taken towards the end of betting into $3.80. Then we had Druid, the winner. It was $26 to 51. They only returned at 31. I was 51 when they jumped. A Skinner for the captains. Thunder Lane went from 40 out to 151. Cleansing Ale, well back, $7 out to $10, back into 7. Revile, yes, how do you say this horse's name? I'm going blind, I'm telling you now. Revival, it was $7 out to $8.50, back into $7. And Paramount Peak was 80 out to 90, back into 60. And in the steward's report, they don't say that the second horse here, Anamoso, was held up. When they turned for home, I thought he was held up when he eased off heels, James McDonald, for a couple of strides. Then he got the split and was outbobbed by the winner on the line. And it's very, very easy after the race. But of course, the second and third horses, both riders, McDonald and proper Peter Roble, they be kicking themselves that they never stayed on the fence. But as I say, it's very easy now. Who was to think that the leader, who had spent a bit of petrol to get to the lead, Cleansing Ale, was going to get off the fence? But invariably they do at Canterbury, especially when this runner had spent as a good bit of petrol to get to the lead from an outside alley, Cleansing Ale. When it, as I say, used a bit of petrol to get there, and they ran along. It was on its outside, Rockefeller Center, and it also spent a good bit of juice to get up to run second. Tucked away third on the fence was Anamoso, getting a charmer. On its outside was Nassau. Right directly behind Anamoso was Rivaled, and directly behind it was the 50 to 1 chance Druid, who had barrier 1. And when they turned for home, McDonald on the second horse, Anamoso, he could tell that the leader was starting to tire, so he said, I'm not going to get caught here, which was the right thing to do at the time. So he got off the fence, and as he did, he could see what was happening as well, proper Peter Roble, so he off the fence as well, and tailing Anamoso, and there was only one thing for the winner to do, who was tailing the pair. He had nowhere to go except slide along the fence where the vacant positions came, and of course after they'd straightened out, the leader got off the fence a bit, and there was plenty of room for the winner to get through. And when he got through, he had an interrupted run, whereas the second pair, Anamoso and Rival, both were held up at vital stages, and I suppose they should have cornelled the race. It's hard to say which one should have won. But there was, by the same token, when they hit the line between the first 6 runners, there was only 1.2 lengths coming from, it was midfield, Divine Moon. It was only beaten, as I say, 6 beaten, 1.2 lengths. So, but the second and third horses held up at vital stages. They wouldn't have won by far if they would have had uninterrupted runs, but most probably would have run first and second. But that's what happens. The captain's got a Skinner in the last, and the punters, if they were in front coming to the last, I didn't see anybody take the $50 anywhere in the ring. So that was about the meeting. As I say, we've got all these: Gosford tomorrow, Scone, Warwick Farm. They are cracking jokes. Anyway, I hope they're all punting and doing the form. No, of course they're not. Anyway, there's only a handful of us. Like going to Scone on Friday, Saturday, there'll only be, besides the Sydney bookies who'll be going up, there's only going to be just that. Look, have a look, come and have a look for yourself, you blokes running the race. There's only going to be just a handful, not even this many. There's only going to be about 10 from Sydney go up who are punters. All the rest of they can't get up to Scone. And then they won't even turn. They'll be all out on their feet while Warwick Farm comes on. Oh, you'll be all punting, I suppose. Yeah, my arse you will be. Anyway, we'll see what happens. We've got a stack of meetings coming up. Good evening.